attention to?
I think one of the biggest problem is that the entry of the corner is too fast. And then you have to lift off and you get a load change and you're out of control. I think it's so important to choose the right speed for going inside the corner.
Good morning, comrades. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome not to the Nürburgring, but to a video where I might get a bit stuttery and jittery because I might be a bit starstruck. It's been an absolute life goal of mine to make a video with you, Mr. Röhrl.
Thank you.
I'll be honest with you, because for many of us petrol heads, kids who grew up watching the videos, and yeah, I almost would say this man next to me requires no introduction, but it would be unfair towards the younger audience of ours. So if I'm gonna ask you what you're most known for, I know you're a humble man, so you're gonna say probably something driving cars, so I'll probably say it for you. 2 times WRC champion?
Yes, that's right, which was not so important for me. Much more important is I won Rally Monte Carlo 4 times in 4 different cars.
Yes.
Just to show the person is most important.
Yes, it's about the person, because that's the most important mod, is the driver mod.
Yeah, yeah.
Le Mans class win, Nürburgring also,
yeah,
I think a couple
yeah.
of things.
Bikes Peak
In 87 with the S1 E2, of course. You can of course read it all on Wikipedia and more other things, but we're going to hop into this amazing GT3, go for a little drive, enjoy the master at work, and see if we can learn a thing or two, because I have a couple of more questions to see if you can transfer the knowledge to us, to the younger audience, when it comes to the driving. So let's hop in and enjoy.
Thank you.
By the way, while Adrian is making B-rolls, we're setting up cameras and the microphones, I want to say a massive thank you to BILSTEIN for making all of this happen. And the reason why we're doing it with them is because they are the supplier of the originally equipped suspension on the car. So all the GT3s, the GT models, and also the base 911s, 992s, and all the previous models, and also lots of other cars come stock with BILSTEIN. And as you can see, the car is very stable on ice. This means it's also very stable on any other track. I mean, why should I talk more? Because you've seen what the car is capable of on the Nürburgring. But now, let's hop in for the main treat of today. When you look at motorsport back in the days and now, and people driving today, what would you say is the most overlooked technique that people are lacking nowadays? What do they do wrong mostly, or don't pay attention to?
I think one of the biggest problem is that the entry of the corner is too fast. And then you have to lift off and you get a load change and you're out of control. I think it's so important to choose the right speed for going inside the corner.
Yeah.
That is really, really important. And if most people are thinking it must be faster and faster.
I can definitely agree to that. I drove last year 24 hours of Spa with the Citroen C1 with a very slow car, and by the bus stop, the very slowest corner, I was trying to go too fast into it, and as soon as I slowed down, I actually gained 2 seconds a lap, and that was actually a very good point, that being slow is being fast sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, what I also see quite often on YouTube or any other media is nowadays people try to be like very, I don't know, too aggressive with the car and with the steering. And when I look at you, the biggest realization point to me was 3 years ago. I did a lap with Robert Kubica, the Formula 1 driver, and he is driving very smoothly. And that was for me the eye-opener, and ever since I tried to replicate that technique, and that benefited me a lot. Oh yeah, people gonna love that, the high revving of GT3. Another thing that I want to ask you is, back in the days, of course, everyone mostly knows you for the Group B days, but also for before, driving in the desert with no air conditioning, extremely hot. That requires lots of physical preparations. What would be for you, what would you say was, how could you prepare to such a thing, to prepare your body for the endurance that was required?
I think, first of all, in my time, I was in a better conditions than all my concurrents, because I was coming from rowing sport and from skiing. And you know, all Scandinavians So I have only one sport.
So yeah,
that of course, especially on rally driving, if you are 40 hours behind the steering wheel, it's important that you are in a good shape, you have a good condition, because a good condition is also good concentration.
So what would be your tip for today's generation who want to get better at car driving? Practice different sports as well on top. Mostly. And that's again.
Try to be in a good physical shape.
Yes.
That is so important. That is. If you are in a good physical shape, you are able to be concentrated for a long time. And fast car driving is a question of concentration. Mm-hmm. That is so important. And of course, also the young generation, they should take times to improve your driving on a safety training or something like this. It makes life so much easier,
Again, that's another valid confirmation point just from my perspective. I don't want to make this video about me, obviously, but what gave me a much more car control and endurance is when I think 2 years ago, lost 20 kilos, became fit, and especially when I'm mostly doing endurance races at the Nürburgring or other tracks. I'm not much into sprint racing, and the fitness is very important. That's what a lot of drivers actually also have to be nowadays. They're professional cyclist or a runner. They spend hundreds of kilometers a day on a bicycle just to get their endurance up and to be able to compete with that. Now, speaking of younger people, I get daily questions from people like, how do you get your dream job of becoming a daily driver? Of course, back in the days was probably different when it comes to today, but what would be your tip to young people who want to get into car driving or to maybe eventually make their career out of it?
For motorsport, of course, it's so important that people start early enough with go-kart driving to get a feeling about the movement of the car. Mm-hmm. And if you look to today's Formula One drivers, and they all start at 5-6 years sitting on a go-kart and is teaching your feeling. That is so important. You cannot start early enough because, if you are young, it's much easier to get this feeling
and to overcome your fear.
Yes, in any sport, not only in motorsport. It is, and then of course listen to people which have a lot of experience, because they can tell you so many things, and you can save problems which before you find it out by yourself.
That's actually a very, very valid point you make, because when I look at my experience as a driver instructor on the Nürburgring or whatever, the biggest issue is when you try to teach people something is that they have their own understanding and they think that they know best and they keep doing their own thing. And it's also what my dad also used to say. It was funny, when I drove the car for the very first time, I was 7 years old, and it was no problem because he taught me what to do. And then later I tried it again when I was 15, and that was a completely different story. He said, now you're trying to do what you think is good, but don't do what you think is good, listen to me. And that's the same, of course, with motorsports.
And for normal driving on normal road, it's also so important for young people that they are really start and trying from the bottom to the top, not starting on the top somewhere, have a lot of accidents and problems.
Don't go really for high horsepower.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what everyone says. If you cannot be fast with 100 horsepower, you won't be able to be fast with 1,000 horsepower. It's a very good point. But for people who are watching this and who will probably, like me also, who are not that fortunate, because I started driving when I was only, like, I got my license when I was, I think, 20, and motorsport, my first race when I was 21.
Yeah.
And people quite often ask me, like, is it not too late to start later when you have the opportunity, the possibility, whether it's time or most importantly money?
Yeah.
Is it still possible to become a good driver on a later age?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Look to me. I started with motorsport with 24 years, and I had no experience at all. I was not driving go-karts, nothing. I was just skiing and rowing. And then a friend of mine said, how you drive a car, you must be a race driver. I said, listen, I have no money to be a race driver. I said, would you drive if it costs nothing? I said, if it costs nothing, I will do it. And then I went out with him on the first rally, and after some stages I asked him, why these people go so slow? Tell me what is the reason they go so slow? I don't go fast.
It's because you were having completely different mentality.
Yeah, this was just...
You're fast on the skis and you're fast on the snow on four wheels as well. That's nice. It's actually another comparison that I remember.
It was Jean-Claude Killy. All these skiers was very good car drivers.
Yeah. I remember there was an F1 race, one of the earlier races that Max Verstappen drove, and there was a rain race. I think it was like, it was very early, and he had a full opposite lock sideways, and he saved the car. And at the end of the interview, they asked him, like, how did you do it? And he said, well, as a kid, I was going skiing with my father, and I was driving on quad bikes, and that's how he gave me like ultimate car control. And that's actually, again, a very good reference how to, because you drive not just with steering wheel, you drive with the feeling, and that's amazing. You said that you started at 24. Tomorrow is going to be your birthday, I believe.
Tomorrow, yes, that's right.
So 76, your
76
career.
Years old, and still crazy.
Yeah, still crazy. I hope that I will be as crazy, or at least even half as crazy as you are when I'm gonna be 76. No, this is amazing. Another thing, quite often when I drive with other people on the Nürburgring, everyone is throwing at me your one-liners. Like, for under 8 minutes I had to put on my helmet.
Yes, that's right.
That's what I love to use as well.
Yeah, that was the first standard car under 8 minutes. It's the first GT3.
If you see the tree, you're understeer. If you hear the tree, you're oversteer.
Yes, that's right.
Or understeer is when the driver is afraid, and oversteer is when the passenger is afraid.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
A good driver has flies on their side window. And what I said at the beginning, that if I would ask you what are your achievements, that you're going to be quite humble about things, and this is what I really love to see about you and other drivers, of course, is no matter your achievements, how humble you are and how much time you take for your fans. What I really appreciate, and I see, because there were a couple of other events when I saw from like over the shoulder. The thing that I will always forever remember, it was 2019 DTM. It was, I think, in Hockenheim, and it was like this DTM classic, and you had all kinds of other drivers like from the past, Damon Chickenton, so it was you, I think Jochen Maas, everywhere, and you had an autograph session, and then at some point the organizer said, okay, we're done, so everyone went, but you were the only one who stayed, and you kept on walking with the fans to talk to them, to sign the signatures, and I find it so amazing that even after all these years you still appreciate the people that appreciate you. And again, going to another recent quote of yours, I don't drive electric vehicles because I'm 75 and I don't have time to charge them to waste my time.
I tell you, I get every week, let's say, 50 letters for autographs, and in 30 letters is written, I don't want an autograph from you because you have been the best driver ever. No, I want one because you are so friendly. You're always friendly to everybody. You never say no. That is the best compliment for me. That people really realize that I'm really trying to be a gentleman, and I never would say, no, go away.
Yeah,
Or, if a small child, if he's coming with a piece of paper, he will get his autographs.
Yeah. I think probably your signatures is probably like the biggest, in the amount, the biggest amount of your signatures out there on all the cars. Like when you go on mobile.de, every 996 GT3 has a signature of you on them.
Yeah, that's right, yes.
Anywhere. It's amazing, and I really can also, that makes me appreciate you not only for your achievements as a driver, but as a human being. That's for you guys. Always be nice, be friendly, and also when you see Walter out there in the field, just going sideways, or in the airport. I think he wants a signature from you, that's why he stopped. Don't be afraid to approach him and ask for a rating.
No, that is.
No,
really,
that's amazing.
And I was on a ski race watching, and a former big ski racer from Austria, Franz Klammer. He was always standing around when people was coming to me and asking to get an autograph. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I give it to them. And then on the next day, I wrote in the newspaper that he has said, my friends, skiers, you should look how you have to be against your fans. Look what Mr. Röhrl is doing.
Yeah.
It is. We are just just making two things going away.
Yeah.
He never will leave somebody without autograph. As long as somebody is asking him, he will do it.
Yeah.
And I think it's normally. I cannot. Not.
It is what you and I and many others also consider to be normal, but unfortunately it isn't. It should be like that, because at the end of the day, we love to do motorsport, we love to do cars, but the reason that we are doing, especially me and my generation of influencers, content creators, the only reason why we're able to do it is because of the following and fans, and they are the reason why we can do it. And so always appreciate and take the time for them. Love the sound of the GT3. Are you still considering doing a race, maybe, like on the Nordschleife?
Yeah, I don't know if I have any chance anymore.
What if I can make it happen?
Yeah. I would prefer to do it with an old car.
With an old car?
I think with an old car, it needs more feeling than a modern one. The modern one is so easy, but with an old car, it's something for me. I like it much more.
Yeah. We can pull in here as well. Well, maybe we can organize some 24-hour classic.
It was. I remember one of the best races in my life was with a 904 on Nürburgring, a 500-kilometer race, and it was raining, and I won it 7 minutes in front of Martin, the UK guy who was Formula One historic champion. Martin, what was his name? He in a Jaguar lightweight. Mm-hmm. I beat him by 7 minutes.
Yeah.
That was this. You know, this old car. It needs so much feeling that, and then it's fantastic. You cannot work like on a modern car, which is very easy to drive. The old one, it needs really fine feeling. That is.
Like you said, you cannot treat a car like a human. It needs love.
Yeah, that's right. You have to. That's right.
So, if I get a 904,
yeah,
would you do a 1,000-kilometer race?
Yeah, why not? That is still something very nice. Nürburgring in an old car. That is even I have not been now since I stopped testing 3 years ago. I was not anymore one time on Nürburgring because I said, okay, I have spent 25 years from my life just on Nürburgring for development, driving, and since this time I haven't been on the Nordschleife because it's also far away from my home. It's 600 kilometers, and I said no. time is over.
Well, we can maybe rejuvenate things. Wouter, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's I loved every second of it, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video as well.
You're welcome. Yeah.